sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
I just choked down chocolate chip cookies and Grandpa's femur. Femur.
We make money now?
No, we had to pay
So
them.
this episode, it's just too slippery. I'm slicing everything.
Every time I swing my 5-iron, it goes up that guy's ass.
Welcome to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's your host, Jim and Foo.
You just pull the cord
You just rip it.
on your never die mower.
I feel like that's...
Grip it and rip it.
Yeah, my mower, speaking of that. Jeez.
Wow.
How it's 25 years old, and I just go out there and like prime it a couple times, and it starts right up every time. Every time. I think I've put oil in it once. It's 25 years old.
25.
I mean, I was like, shit, it's kind of low on oil. I should probably check it. And I pulled the disc. Yeah, it's low on, I don't even know what kind. I think I put regular motor oil in there.
At this point, it's mud.
Probably. It's never been changed.
The holy juice.
I should probably change it at least once.
There's like...
Do a flush. Actually, I feel like if I did a flush on it, it would probably like start leaking.
Yeah, it's like one of those, like the first time you piss after drinking a whole bunch of booze. It's like decorking. It's like once you change the oil, it's probably gonna. It's like it needs that kind of cruddy 25-year-old oil to keep the seals around the piston.
Yeah,
it's like don't change that shit. It's like it needs the sediment.
It's actually protecting the seals.
It's probably like a toothpick of a piston surrounded by crud. You're going to put new oil in there, and it's going to like just start misfiring, and it'll be done.
It just cracks me up.
You get rust in there.
Like, I just think about it because it's like a 25-year-old Toro motor that I've just... It doesn't get abused, but I just never...
Right.
I don't maintain it. I mow the yards, and it goes right back in the garage. And then the next week, I mow the yards, and it goes right back in the garage. It's like, I don't even think twice about it. I prime it a couple times, starts right up. It's actually called a GTS2, guaranteed to start 2. That's what it's called. And it does.
I wonder how many people returned the first one because it actually didn't start.
Well, no. I mean,
like,
GTS2 meaning 2 poles, and it'll start.
Oh.
Guaranteed
Not
to start in
2.
2. Yeah, no.
Yeah, because that would suck.
Yeah.
Like, guaranteed to start, and then it doesn't. You're like, fuck.
Well, they called the
we
first
need a
one
new version.
GTS1, and then like the first time it doesn't start on the first pole, they're like, I got to take it back. And then
we got to talk to marketing.
Toro's like, let's just do a 2.
What if we put like 2 with like an asterisk, and then we like in the manual we just put in most cases.
Yeah, and will
that work?
2, 3 primes on the gas, 1 pole. That thing's like, you know
what I'm actually
every time.
More surprised about?
What
is that your primer bulb
hasn't disintegrated?
Rotted.
Yeah,
like whatever rubber latex compound.
True.
That's actually because not necessarily the fault of the product, but the gas going into the machine probably has so many more additives that the design of the compound used in it probably wasn't meant for 25 years later gas.
Probably not.
That's actually...
There's all this detergent and shit in there that wasn't around back then.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
That.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a turbo on it, and then I'm gonna run ethanol in it.
Yeah, just strap it onto like a skateboard and just fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, why not? I'm gonna put a big like cooler on the front. You know what I mean?
A little front mount.
Yeah. Why not?
Hey,
I mean, why not?
Guess what?
Huh?
Sad Dads Club podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Episode 109.
109.
I got that one.
I mean, it's like every week when we say the new number, it's like I'm amazed all over again. You know?
Right.
And on top of all that, I mean, I'm kind of a stats guy, so I watch our stats. And the last couple of months, and especially this month, it's crazy. I'm so thankful that people are listening to the show.
Yeah.
We're just a couple idiots in the garage. You know what I mean?
Right.
And our stats are
I
going nuts this month. It's actually kind of nice to see, and we super appreciate it. We don't get paid to do this. When we take pictures and show this
Right.
shit on Twitter of like our studio setup, that's all stuff that either we have bought or we have
Cobbled together from
yeah
AJA.
or gotten donated.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have a sponsor. We have no one. I mean, other than AJA.
And
really,
we have a terrible marketing team. So as you can see
Well-
our flabbergastedness
Yeah.
as our popularity and stats go up.
Yeah.
It's encouraging
it is.
that more people are listening or at least passing it around to have someone give it a shot. So we hope you're entertained.
Yeah.
Hope you're getting something from it as two dudes talk about stuff.
I mean, I'm genuinely
Yeah.
surprised.
It's
be honest.
awesome.
It
It's
is.
like, I share it to the kids. I'm like, check it out. Dad's a podcaster. And they're like, whatever. But I'm
It's
like,
not.
check it out.
I mean, when we embarked on this over 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
it was sort of like, yeah, we can do a podcast, and it's it's one of those things where we obtained that. Like, it's okay. We weren't good at it necessarily. It takes time, and I'm not even sure that we are now necessarily.
I'm good at talking to my dude.
Yeah,
That's it.
right. And the fact that our stats are going up and people are listening, thank you so much. We appreciate it big time.
Yes. Thank you.
So yeah, thanks a lot.
Speaking of thank yous,
Yeah.
I just had my 19th wedding anniversary yesterday.
Yes.
So thanks, wife. Thanks for sticking around.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are I feel like you're just youngins, though. My wife and I think this is our 27 coming up on.
Is
in
it?
April. Yeah. 27 years.
Wow.
Can you believe that
I
shit?
would not have thought that you had almost a decade on top.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
I put
it's
us a lot
27.
closer in age. Like, how would that be possible?
I mean,
That's nuts. And I was looking through as I made my anniversary tweet,
Yeah.
and I took shit for the fucking group chat. Like, anyway. But
What, are you talking about the
like,
frosted tips?
no.
Oh.
Well, yeah. So the pictures. So when I was
Oh,
looking
okay.
for pictures to put onto the tweet of like
Yeah.
a happy anniversary to the wife, I went looking for our honeymoon pictures on
Right.
Hawaii. Hair. I had hair and frosted
Right.
tips, but it were to look back and see that that young.
Uh-huh.
It seems crazy.
Well, I made a comment in there like with the hair, I almost didn't reckon. I mean, I knew who you were,
yeah.
but at the same time, like, oh my God, that's what's different. Is the dude has hair on his head.
Yeah.
I don't think I've known you with hair. You know what I mean?
No, I was already shaving head with Ingress, so you would never have
Yeah.
seen me outside of like a minor amount of like koosh ball hair.
Right, just fuzz that
Yeah.
grew out.
You would not have known me with hair.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
remember.
if it was blonde tipped.
I mean, there's no shame in that. I remember, I don't know if I've talked about this, but Tony, who was a guest host while you were in Europe with the crew,
Right.
I remember we worked together for like 10 years, and he very thinned out hair, and one day he just showed up to work bald. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no shame in that. Like,
Fuck no.
he's owning it. I don't.
Yeah.
I
Low
mean,
maintenance,
you
man.
joke around. Is
Oh,
that a
yeah.
bald joke?
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
You joke about that, but there's no shame in it.
No.
I don't even think. I don't think twice about it.
Yeah.
To be honest with
I'm 100, and I understand that some people are obviously there's a market for Rogaine and hair plugs and magic spray on static cling hair whatevers.
you. Right.
There's a market for it. Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. It's like,
Well, when Tony did that, he came to work, and the owner of the company was just like, what'd you do that for? I mean, like, he was really bothered by it, the fact that
Oh.
Tony would shave his head.
yeah.
And I was just like, I mean, he already looked like he was bald anyway. It's like, we're only talking about like 3/4 of an inch of hair that he shaved off his head. It's not that much different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, at some point, I think I also just started doing like the math as far as, male haircuts aren't necessarily that expensive.
Yeah.
But at some point, when your hair is thinning out, it's like, well, why am I paying for that? I'm okay with just shaving it. And,
Well-
and for, I think, probably 5 years, I just clippered it. really short. And then at some point, I'm like, well, if I'm going to shave my face, I'll just shave my head and not have to get out clippers anymore.
Well, and the barber, if you have someone cut your hair and you go to the barber and your hair's really thin, I mean, he just snips around trying to make you feel like you got your money's worth.
I think I was still thick enough to where I didn't ever really get conscious of like,
oh, Tony sure did.
Are you fucking shining me on here?
Right.
Like, I can see you in this big ass mirror. Are you just clipping vapor?
Yeah.
And like I was well out of it when I started shaving before that started to happen.
Yeah.
But I can see how, it's like you hear the scissor and you look up in the mirror and the dude's like hand length away from your head and you're like, fuck you, bitch.
Or maybe there's like three cuts of hair coming down.
Yeah. Where'd that go?
Yeah.
Or there's no hair on the bottom of the chair, like the guy's gonna sweep up after, and it's like, I don't really need to sweep today.
I
like,
think
fuck you.
I have pictures of the floor when the last time I got my hair cut when it was pretty long.
Right.
I think I have a photo in my phone. If I find it, I'll put it on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Because it is a substantial amount of hair. It's impressive.
Yeah.
I was like, you kind of like get done and they take the thing off and you sort of get down off the thing and you look down and you're like, oh damn.
It's been a while.
And then you reach up and realize how much hair they've actually removed off of your head and you're like, oh fuck,
wow.
I feel like I'm bald now.
Mistakes have been
yeah for real, mistakes have been made.
We've talked about this we had like our social Zoom call over the weekend. Zander's hair was getting long again. Now I've cut his hair twice, but I had been timid about going full send on the top. But I was nailing.
But are you scissoring it? Are you cutting it?
I was, yes.
Oh, okay.
I was doing both. I have texture scissors and the normal scissors, and I was giving him like a decent fade up to the top. I was very comfortable with the fade part and the thinning around the brim, but I was timid about the actual top. So I had touched him up twice, and Friday evening, I think Venus and Piper went out to run errands. I walked past his room, and he was just like, his bangs were still like, he was doing like the skater flip thing, and it was too much. And I went, let's go cut your hair. I had reached a point where my timidness, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get that shit up out of your eyes.
You just get one of those trimmers for the bushes.
Oh, yeah.
Like a hedge trimmer?
Whoa,
Not that trimmer. Not a Manscaped 3.0 or anything like that.
Shit.
You just get one of those, and then you just take it to his dome.
So I full attack.
Oh, okay.
I cleaned him up real good, got him short. There was nothing in his eyes anymore. Looks good. And I was telling people on the homies on the Zoom call, and Venus said some shit like, yeah, but it's crooked in the back. And I went, fuck, what?
Uh-oh.
Hell no.
Oh, no.
And she's like, and I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden the chat's like, oh, shit.
Put him on.
Oh, snap.
Go get the
I'm
boy.
Like, it's fine in the back. I'm like, he wears a goddamn headset. What?
Yeah.
The fuck's? I went in and I got the boy, and I'm like, you like a haircut? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you need to get your ass out here and vouch for me on this Zoom call.
And then the first thing he says is, Dad fucked up.
He's like, huh? What? Huh? Turns around and Venus goes, see? And I'm like, well, see the fucking what? What are you talking about? He doesn't know what's going on, but everyone on the call is like laughing and pointing out that I might have. I'm like, fuck, I'm a great barber.
Maybe when you cut it, you were crooked, or he was like tilted head.
I thought it was fun. Anyway.
Guess what? It'll grow out.
Right. Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, so I sent her back in, and I think so today's Wednesday. It would have been Monday. He had his like half day.
So you cleaned him up again?
No. Oh. But he came home from school and he was sitting there, and I'd walk past his room and, how's your day? And how was school? He's like, oh, it's fine. And because he then turned around to continue on his computer work, and I caught like the back. I'm like, your hair is fine. And he went, oh, so my friends said they really liked my haircut. And I went, fucking see? You know why? Because it's a great fucking haircut. Anyway, it was quite funny. I'm like, ha-ha.
Well, my funny high school time, I think I was a freshman. My high school time freshman haircut story is that my mom used to cut my hair a lot. I don't think I went to a regular barber. I think she cut it most of the time.
Yeah.
But she wasn't really cutting it the way I wanted it, and I think I was kind of afraid to ask. She could be kind of funny about stuff. But so I was over at a buddy's house, and skateboard kid, you want a certain cut. So my hair was getting kind of long, and they're like, oh, we'll cut it for you. And they get the clippers out, and they're doing their thing. Next thing you know, but unbeknownst to me, the guard comes off the clippers.
Oh, shit.
And they're trying
go.
to just get something. And then I've got like a fucking shave line in the back of. Oh, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I got in trouble. I got in big trouble when I got home.
Did you ever get the, this was like probably fifth, sixth grade, but I was playing football. Did you ever have like things shaved into the race? Playing junior minor football up in Nevada County. The thing to do on the football team was to get like the shaved steps.
Yeah.
And on one side, and then on the other side, you would get your number like shaved into the side.
So football.
Oh yeah, like fucking hard.
Well, I remember,
and we would have to go to the one lady on the football, like the football mom, who was also a beautician.
That she knew how to do that.
And it was like, I think people were paying her $25 to shave your fucking number.
Back then, that was expensive.
Yeah, I'm like. But I had to have it because everyone on the football team was getting it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, keep going.
Well, my older brother, Sean, I remember when he used to live in like Redlands area, Ukaipa, with his mom. And when he moved in with us, it was the summer before my freshman year. He would have been starting out as a sophomore.
Okay.
And so he's my older brother, and I always really looked up to him as a friend or my brother.
Okay.
And when he showed up at our house, he had around the back shingles.
Oh.
So it was like sort of like what you're talking about with the steps, but it was shingles all the way around the back of the head within steps all the way down.
Okay.
And then a tail underneath.
Oh.
He had a tail with the shingles and then like kind of a normal kind of cut up top. He always had real interesting haircuts.
Yeah.
And that was the last, if I remember correctly, kind of the last sort of weird haircut he ever had.
Yeah. We went into, because, the 90s and coming out of high school, so 94, was very, I didn't skate, but like the long hair Kurt Cobain style.
Oh, yeah.
Was
like kind of the grunge look.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of it was like, I went long between haircuts because I didn't have a lot of money. Yeah. So I had a very, like, parted down the middle flop. I could have been a skateboarder without a skateboard on gravel, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And going into first year at Chico State, I could barely afford food.
let alone get your haircut.
Let alone get a haircut. Yeah. So my hair had started to grow out to the point, like, past Kurt Cobain, where I could pull it back into, like, not a man bun, but enough of like a whatever you call it when you give the little kids a sprout or a sprite.
Okay.
Like
I don't know.
It's barely enough for a pony to put it in, but it was long.
Yeah.
And then if I were to pull it back in front, like it would hit my cheekbones. It was long. Not because I cared, but it was like I couldn't afford to get it cut.
Well,
it was pretty funny.
There was a time for me where I had shoulder length hair.
Wow.
This is way back.
All around?
Yeah. So this is way back when I worked at the pizzeria. So I would actually pull it up in a pony and put it into the hole of my hat. Wear my hat with a pony on the back. And it was pretty long for a while. And in fact, it was really long. And then I got it cut right before our wedding. Oh. And I loved the haircut that I had right before the wedding.
But not the haircut for the wedding?
No, that haircut.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've gone through different stages, and in fact, if you go back and look at the beginning YouTube videos of our show, you'll see I've had long hair. So this is kind of the shortest it's been in a while.
Yeah, you're short on the sides. But like when I first met you for Ingress, you were poofy all around.
Yeah.
Now you're trimmed on the sides and
the ideal
poofy.
Is for me it's like a little bit of a trim with a blend up underneath and then longer on top.
Yeah.
The last cut I got, she did mostly what I wanted, except the blend was really high on my head, which drives me crazy because then it feels like I'm naked in the back. I want the blend to come down just above the ears, and she had it up like a couple inches over the ears or whatever. But
hey,
it was someone new. What are you gonna do? I mean,
haircuts are different.
I mean, the last time though, when I had pretty long hair recently and I got it cut, I remember just like I told her like I've got long hair. I just I want to clean it up. I like the length, but I want to bring it back a little bit. I mean, she went like full boy cut practically.
Oh.
And that was not what I wanted at all. At all. I mean, that's frustrating because you can't. It's one thing to like leave it long because you can always cut more off, but once you cut it off, you're just having to wait if you want to grow it back.
I think, yeah. And relative to this house, I'm not sure how much further Piper will go. I think Piper got a trim at some point, but Venus for like 3-4 weeks, I need you to cut my bangs. I'm like, okay.
She trusts you to do it, huh? Well, my wife would never.
No. And after
ever.
That was probably 2 weeks going into Zander's first cut.
Mm-hmm.
And we're joking in the house, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cut your hair. I got clippers. You want to look like me? I can do it. And it was. And I think we talked about a show. I sat him down in front of like a couple of YouTube episodes. I'm like, which one of these hairs are you looking closest to?
Did you do the North Korean haircut thing where you just show them a bunch of pictures and you pick one of the photos of? That's the style I want.
It was pretty close, but just YouTube episodes.
This is like a North Korean, like, government.
You want to look like Kim Jong-un? Like, I'll just put the fucking bowl on your head and...
I mean, that's one of the options.
But, he got full choice in what he wanted to look like. And then when we got what he wanted, and then Venus is like, asks to cut her bangs, started to get more serious. Like, really? This weekend? I really need you to cut my bangs. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I will cut your bangs. And then the weekend would come and pass, and like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I really, this weekend, I need you to cut my bangs.
Now, what's the reason why the cut would never happen? Is it just
because I would say to her, I want you to show me how you want them cut. Find me a YouTube episode of someone cutting your bangs, cutting bangs that's the way you want them cut.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch something on my own and then start going to work. I want you to approve what you want, how you want it cut. And that would never happen. So and then it would recycle.
Okay.
I want you to cut my bangs. Okay.
You need to show me.
Show me.
Yeah.
I want you to cut my bangs. Fucking okay. And then what it ended up happening is she cut them herself.
Well,
and I'm like,
yeah,
that was the easiest job ever.
I know my wife, because she's been growing her bangs out, but before that, her bangs would start getting long and coming into her eyes, and then she would trim them herself, and then she'd be like, I gotta go get a haircut. And then they would have to deal with the fact that she trimmed her hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, and I'm sure, too, when this starts to clean up or we get, it becomes safe again to send Zander into, like, a hair clip or whatever, wherever he gets super clips or fucking whatever place to get them.
Great clips.
I am sure they're going to be sad about the hack job that I did. But I am not a professional. I was taught on a YouTube episode. Wait, he looks good, and his friends think his shit looks good. So
you don't have a jar with antiseptic in it and all your scissors inside.
God, I'm close. I thought about getting one of those. You know what I do need? I want to get one of the fucking fuzzy brushes. Like cutting his hair. Like I realized
to like brush it all out.
To get it off the shit off the neck.
Yeah.
I feel like that's part of.
Do you have a thing to put over his clothes?
No, I do the towel and I tuck it in. I'm just short. I'm just short of like
all
Amazon and like I'm
well,
just
you're
short
probably
of needing the antiseptic jar.
Feels like you're like $25 away from having all the shit you need.
It's close.
Yeah,
it's really
and then,
close.
Like a barber pole for out front, so when you're cutting the hair, you turn that on so everybody knows that you're.
I'm doing it.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah,
I'll just start setting him up out front, and then we'll see if like the turkey vulture brings the kids over. You digging holes or cutting hair, buddy? Mm-hmm.
Can you cut my hair? And then the legs open.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa.
You're like, I don't have a fucking wire brush for that.
God damn. The flap wheel, I'm all out. You'd have to bring a grinder over. Shit.
I'm all out of wax.
Yeah. I used it on my wife's bangs.
Oh, shit. Ooh.
She wouldn't pull up an episode, so I just got out the wax and the chainsaw.
I mean, that's one way to cut it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That'd do it.
Oh, you want me to cut your hair or you want me just to wax it?
There's tearing involved.
Oh. No.
Danger.
No. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Flap wheels.
I have actually bought a couple flap wheels recently for some
polishing.
No, they were like high grain for. I was doing wheel finishing.
Oh.
On the Cadillac.
Yeah.
To like pull the paint off. They kind of work. They're for the Dremel, not big enough for a wheel, like an 18-inch wheel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like this is gonna fucking take forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I'd be better off just using chemical stripper.
Yeah. Speaking of tools, so Tony had sent you, and then by proxy me.
Are you saying Tony's a tool?
Yeah. Speaking of tools, he sent us
Sorry,
a thing
Tony.
about fuck that guy. About talking about doing man things, and he lives vicariously through us. So it reminded me of the last, I think it was 2 weeks back. I have no functional wheelbarrows to move dirt and rocks around, and I'd been moving stuff. But I had three different wheelbarrows that in various states of decay or need of repair.
Right.
I had gone to Home Depot or Lowe's, it either matter, doesn't matter.
The hardware store.
Yeah, to buy it, they're upwards of $100.
They're expensive
for all of the pieces and parts. Now it's like ad hoc or a la carte. You buy the tub, the arms, the wheels. Then if you're getting something else,
and even better, you have to put them together.
Right, which is fine. I don't mind.
No,
that.
I don't mind that. But I mean, for $100.
But it was like $100. So I had come home, and I'm like looking at the three broken parts. It's like all of a sudden I realize I've got $300 in wheelbarrows.
I can make at least one good one.
That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, the first one reminded me of your fucking 25-year-old mower because it had a metal tub.
Yeah.
So the metal tub was good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I had really started looking at it, I realized that they were all the same manufacturer. They were just different materials.
Different times.
Right. So my oldest one was the metal one, but it had wood handles, and those were completely shot. The second and third ones were both plastic tubs that had either dry rotted or cracked and were just falling apart. But one of them had metal arms, and the other one was also wood, and one of them was warped beyond all function. But and a couple of them had flat tires. But between the three, I had one, one functional, and I spent, I kind of just half-assed some sanding. I had to come up with some extra scrap bolts and whatnot. But when you've owned a home for any length of time and you're like a PC scrounger, you by proxy start to become like a nuts and bolts and screws scrounger. So I had parts, spray painted some of the rust, knocked it off where I could, and put one together. It's janky, but
but it works.
Yeah. And I'm like, fuck.
Did you get spinners for it or anything?
No, I didn't. The one It won't
Inkies? You got a set of Inkies for it?
It won't last long. But it had reminded me a lot of your mower. It's like some of these, in having the metal tub, the older tools and whatnot that are repairable, truly repairable, seem to be going by the wayside.
Oh, absolutely.
And then as I ran through, when I was raking the rocks to try and sort them by size, I had blown the handle in one of my the big tines, the thick tine rake, not a fan rake, but the meat rake.
That sounds really...
Yeah, the meat rake?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put that in perspective.
I had pulled the head off of that handle because it had rotted out.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said.
Whoa. Wow.
We just took a turn.
Yeah, that got dark really fast. They got penicillin for that. So I had pulled the rake head off of the handle because the wood, however was seated in there, 5-6 years, it had rotted out.
Right.
I had just spent the weekend prior fixing the wheelbarrow, and I'm like, well, the handle was like the fiberglass, just the wood insert and seat had fallen apart. So I got out the drill and there's a screw, and I just kind of jammed it back in there and pushed it through, and it wasn't going to come out, but it was kind of floppy.
Loosey-goosey.
I had some epoxy, so I filled it full of epoxy, and it's
solid.
It's good as new.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, it was last weekend, I'm looking at this rake that's like a Frankenstein rake, and it's got a bolt that's going through it that sticks out way too far. And so it looks odd, and it's got hardened epoxy kind of running down the head of the rake a little bit.
Yeah.
And the wheelbarrow that's like somewhat spottily spray painted to keep out the rust, and mismatched bolt seats to keep it on the runners. And it reminded me of tools of my grandpa's from like a time as a kid.
Shit that just seemed really old.
Really old, but it was like they were durable because there was like a uniqueness to them as well. Like they had been fixed. They were.
You didn't just chuck it and go get a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like one of those weird moments, like the father became the son was the father kind of thing. It was like I hadn't realized that this was a thing that I had missed. Like the mower thing, never being able to keep a mower but like having tools around the house that, they're not broke. And
they're not perfect, but
beyond disrepair.
Yeah,
like this works now. Yeah. I can make this work, and I don't need to go out and spend a very minimal amount of effort. It cost me probably $5 in epoxy and the bolt I had because I had saved it from some other thing that Venus probably bought, some IKEA thing that I couldn't.
That you would have never used that bolt for probably anything ever.
And. I didn't need a PhD, and I'm not a mechanical engineer. But now it's fixed.
And you have a functional.
And it's functional.
Yeah.
Like it's not something. It's like duct tape. Like I'm gonna go out there and put in a hard day's work, and it's gonna break again. Like the rake and the wheelbarrow. I'm gonna get another 5 years until the sun rots another part, and then I'm probably boned because I totally broke.
Then you're on the hook for $100,
right?
Probably by then, $150.
I have pushed out in the times that we're in. I have pushed out probably a cost savings until hopefully we're beyond whatever COVID economy garbage that we're in now.
Yeah.
But the flashback that I got in looking at these two Frankenstein, like this reminds me as a kid, like this is what my dad and his parents had to do in, the Great Depression or when times were hard. Like you didn't go out and just buy a new thing to replace it. You fixed most things because that's what was economical.
Yeah.
And that's just what you had to do.
Yeah.
And here we are in the times that we're in, and some lesson that I had picked up passively. I was staring in the face like, wow, I did that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was weird.
I don't know if we talked about it last week, but we've had a rat problem. Did we talk about this on the show?
I don't think so.
We have a rat. We've had a rat problem in my backyard, not in the house or in the attic or anything like that, just in the backyard.
Yeah.
And my office that I use for work is next to a window, and on the other side of that window is a couple barbecues. And a couple times I have seen some vertical motion come from up top down, and like looked and never saw anything there, and just kind of wrote it off to like my eyes are doing something funny, or maybe a bird flew by and there was a shadow. I don't know.
Maybe you're seeing Dave's shadow people.
Yeah, but then one day, this was last week, my wife and I were standing there talking, and I'm in the chair, and she sees that, and she's like, "Oh my God!" and I saw it too, and I'm like, "It's a fucking rat. There's a rat out there." And she's like, "Oh my God, I saw it," and I'm like, "I'm validated," because I'm usually the only one there,
right? And
I see it, and no one's around, and then you never find it,
right?
So sure enough, there's a rat there. And then also, we had the slider open in the back of the house, and the cat was hanging around, loves to just sniff the fresh air, and the cat's like intently looking up, so she's hearing something.
Right.
We flipped the light on back there, and up in the top of our patio cover canopy thing, in the corner right above the slider, there is a mouse. And I can see his ears, and he kind of moved just slightly. Yeah. And I was like, "You motherfucker." So I go out there, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I'm not going to catch it with my hands. Right. But we have been working on this bench, like redoing this bench, and there's a piece of wood off the bench sitting there. So I pick it up, and I just start jamming it like, like hopefully I'm smashing his fucking head in or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he gets away. They don't ever find him. He must have gotten away when I turned around, or I have no idea. So anyway, we've had this rat problem, and we've caught him in the grills in our barbecue. So the grills have been off limits because that's fucking disgusting, to have rats in there and shitting in there or whatever it is. So we tried baiting for them, and they eat the bait, but that doesn't seem to be taking care of them. And so my wife is like, "Oh my God, we need to get rid of these rats." So when she saw the rat, not when I saw it, but when she saw the rat.
Now something has to be done.
Yeah, now it's fucking turn on the sirens and let's blaze over to Lowe's or Home Depot and get some traps. And she is very much the kind of person that she doesn't want to like poison the rats, because now if the rats go off and die and some other animal eats the rat, that animal is going to eat the poison part of the rat, and then that animal's going to die. Right. And I understand that. That's fine. I mean, I don't want to like do anything she doesn't want to do, but at the same time, we got rats. Yeah, get rid of these fucking rats. Right. And who knows how many there are?
More than you can see.
Probably.
Yeah.
So we go and we find at Home Depot they're like plastic jaws that have a little plate, and you put peanut butter in them. Bought 2 of them, put some peanut butter in them, set one on the grill right where they come down in this place I've seen them multiple times. And then set the other one. She has made my wife has made this pallet planter box thing, and they get into the planter box and eat all of her plants out of all the planting.
No big deal.
Yeah, they eat them all, literally. So she'll plant them all. They look great. And then 1 or 2 days go by, and they're all gone. Literally just pulled up out of the thing and gone. It's crazy, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. And not only that, but our patio cover, they've chewed the like netting around the top of the patio cover. So that's all fucked up now. So they're causing problems.
Damage. And,
yeah. And so the other trap, I put one on the grill, put the other one on top of the planter thing, the pallet planter thing. Go to bed, get up the next morning, go to let the dog out, and I'm peeking around, and I don't see the traps where I had set them.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, neither one of them. Like, oh, that's interesting. And Shan says something to me about, I don't see the traps. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't see them either. So we go out there, and I'm looking at the grill, and it's not on the spot where I had set it. And I'm like, that's strange. So as I walk past the grill, the trap has now sandwiched itself between the wall of the house and the grill.
Oh.
Like stuck.
Yeah.
And there's a rat hanging from it.
Oh.
So it got one there.
It got fucked him.
And I walk over to the planter one, and it's not up top anymore where I had set it. It's now in the grass with a fucking dead rat in it. 2 rats right out of the gate.
Yeah.
The negative part of that part is, what do you do with 2 dead rats? Well, I don't know. I live in Roseville, so I just put them in the trash can. Well, it was early in the week.
Oh, boy. You got the stank and the
Oh, my Lord, dude.
byproduct.
Death came. Death smells of the trash can. This propelled. So the can got so smelly, so many flies.
Oh, yeah.
That we couldn't have it in its normal place because it was disgusting. It smelled horrible. And I mean, I even got like a can of Lysol, and I'm spraying the inside of the can, and I'm like hoping throwing more trash in there will help, and that's not helping.
No.
Finally, 2 days early before the trash man comes, we rolled the can out and put it
on the street. Like,
yeah.
Fucking, we're done.
We can't do it anymore.
Go away.
So finally, on yesterday, the trash guy came.
Yeah.
Empties the trash. So I go to get the can. It doesn't smell nearly as bad. Still a little bit bad, but not much. Roll the can back into its place. And I open it up just to see, how bad is the smell? And it's not bad, but I look down in there, and there's fucking maggots.
Oh, yeah.
All inside the can. Just white worms everywhere, all over the bottom of the can.
They're like, what the fuck happened, man?
So I go get the Lysol, and I spray, and that's not doing anything. I'm like, damn it. So I go get the bleach. And I drizzle bleach inside the can. Well, those maggots did not like that at all.
No, I imagine.
They started crawling up the sides of the inside of the can.
Oh, shit.
And I put the lid down.
You're like, go away, bitch.
Yeah, I put the lid down and closed it.
Start beating on it like a drum?
No, and I left it, and I had something else to do. So later on, I come back, and I open up the lid, and the fucking maggots have crawled up, and they're on the inside of the lid of the can.
Holy shit.
Dude, they're fucking everywhere. And I'm all, what the fuck?
What is going on?
Yeah, this is disgusting.
Super maggots.
So then I get more bleach, and I pour it in the bottom, and then I get the...
Wait, did the first batch of bleach kill anything?
I think so. I don't know, man. I have no idea. But what I did is I put more bleach in there. And then I got the hose, and I just started hosing the lid off.
Yeah.
Now, some of them didn't fall back into the can, which is like, fuck it, I don't even care. I hosed those down, and then the ones that were inside the can, I hosed them all the way down into the bottom.
Yeah.
So now that we got a bleach concoction with maggots at the bottom of the can, and I just like slapped the lid closed and left. I'm like, it's so fucking gross.
This is yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
So now you've got like a maggot bleach soup in the bottom of your trash can?
Yes. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And what's funny is my wife is like, you need to get the pressure washer. And I'm like, what's this you
Go nuts,
need?
wife.
Yeah, what's this you need? Well, I said we need. I'm like, you didn't say that.
Fuck it, I got step 1 and 2 done.
I'm
You're
like,
step 3 and 4.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure I was handling this pretty good, So then today I went out there and opened it, and like everything's dead, and there's a little bit of liquid at the bottom. And it doesn't even stink a little.
Wow.
Not even a little. So anyway, that's my dead rat turned into fucking maggots.
Maggots and maggots?
Aren't the maggots, don't they turn into the flies?
Yes,
yeah.
But now you've got dead biomatter.
oh, I see.
I'm saying,
it's
fly.
It's a bleach soup. I don't think
they'll.
I don't think that we're gonna have a problem with flies for a little bit.
But then So, it's going to start to decay.
What's that?
The maggots. It's still biomatter.
Yeah, but in bleach.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, I think the bleach is going to trump anything that's going to be like, oh, hey, look, there's some dead shit down there. I'm going to go fucking shit on some dead shit. And then they go down there and they're like, oh, what the fuck?
let's feast. Oh, bleach.
This bleach is fucked up. Let's get the hell out of here. I mean, I don't know. But I think it's the cleanest smelling our can has been in years.
We will... I've caught rats in the back with us. We'll at least do the I'll glove up and then drop in a huge
bag,
Ziploc bag.
I wish I would have done that.
And that will that lasts the
couple days.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about it later. It was one of those things where it was like I'm already picking up this trap with a rat hanging off of it.
Yeah.
And his beady little fucking eyes are like staring at me, even though he's dead as shit. But his beady little eyes are staring at me through the hole, and I'm just like, fuck you. And I'm like walking to the can, I'm like, clunk into the can. I'm like, fuck right off, bitch. You know what I mean?
Prepare for the stink.
And then he's like, punk. Here's Custer's last stand. Yeah. And he's like, ugh. Here's the stench and the fucking maggots.
I am waging war on your nasal cavity, fucker.
2 of them, though.
Yeah.
So it was.
Have you caught one since?
No. So I reset the traps and put them in the same exact locations. Haven't caught a thing.
So Venus had talked with her dad about how you had seen them in the day. And because in some instances when you see nocturnal creatures in
rabies,
they've got something wrong or they've got rabies. He said what was probably more plausible is not rabies, but that wherever their food source is has dried up, and so now they're having to scrounge during the daylight. So it's just pushed their foraging into daylight.
So they're like, we need to get up really early.
Right. Well, it's either the rat population in the space has oversaturated and has consumed wherever their food source is, or construction has moved wherever their previous home is, that they're migrating to a place where they have to forage for food in the day because they're not finding enough at night. Yeah. And so that's why you're starting to see them when you see them.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty gross because we would find, at one point, there were fucking just turds all over the place. It's like, what the we just sunk a bunch of time and money into the backyard, and it's starting to look good, and we're, like brand new sod and a patio and a fire pit and all this shit, and all of a sudden it's like, there are fucking rats all over the place. What the hell?
What it may have been, too, is that you cleaned up the cans.
The can? Oh, yeah, we did have...
you had done all of your recycling, yes. I bet.
We did have some recycling that got ravaged by I think there was a nest in there, and that might... I don't know where they went, because those were no longer a viable place for them anymore because they weren't there.
Yeah.
But after that, I don't know. I don't know where they went.
We see a lot, I have seen everyone else has. Like, there's a significant population of squirrels now.
Yes.
And now, in having dealt with rats in the past, sometimes in the evening, what may be a squirrel, I think, fuck, rat. I had moved the last waterfall thing. We had resolved all the rats in there, but I think probably a week and a half, 2 weeks back, in a 2 a.m., 3 a.m., taking Armageddon out to pee, I heard skeetering on the top of the fence. Could have been a rat, could have been a squirrel, I don't know, but I went, well, now I've got leftover traps and glue traps and a bait box, so I put that behind what's the one redwood planter that we have in the backyard, and I put it at the base just in case, because I figure if there's a place to make a nest or hide, under that would be a thing.
Right.
I think on Sunday, I went to check the glue traps, and one was missing.
Oh.
And these are, about the size of this.
Notebook.
The traps are the size of a 6.5 by 8 type of, or 5 by 7
notebook thing.
Right. And when you get, they're tacky.
Yeah.
You're not pulling off a rat is not, or a mouse or a squirrel is not pulling their foot off of this once it gets on it.
Right.
I could not see the glue trap
Anywhere.
anywhere, and I went,
where did it go?
well, that's confusing because one, the dogs clearly didn't get into it because
Right.
I would have known.
You would have seen them
Right,
with it
the
stuck
dog,
to their
yeah,
ass or
stuck
something.
or nose, or who, or
Yeah.
paw, who knows? But
Yeah.
the glue trap was gone, so I'm like, okay, well that's a problem.
Oh, that's funny.
That's okay.
Joke's on me, guys.
Yeah. Wow. So who pulled the glue trap out? And like Venus is like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, fuck.
Oh. Maybe they're doing like, like they're doing like little projects.
Yeah,
They're like, we're gluing paper together to make
making a paper-maché rat.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Venus had mentioned something to her dad, and he's like, they're not really gonna make off with the trap. He's like, it's possible that a squirrel could carry it away. But like when I think of where I put the glue trap, and if a squirrel had stuck a paw or a
it seems like it would be more
a foot to it, like I don't know how you would get away with this 5x7, 6x7 like thing.
Well, what about
stuck
like if
to your foot as you tried to like get away or climb a tree or something?
What if like a tail just landed on it, and then it got stuck, and then they ran off with it, stuck to their tail or something? You know what I mean?
Well, I've seen like rats stick to this thing. Like it's like quicksand.
Yeah.
It only gets worse.
Yeah.
So
there's like their paw gets stuck, and then next thing you know, their arm's stuck because they're struggling.
Right.
And then the next thing is stuck, and then the more of them is stuck.
Something gets tired, and then their fucking cheek gets stuck to it.
Yeah.
Like there's either
I don't want to hear them though when they're struggling.
some rat or mouse or squirrel running around with like a glue trap on its back like a fucking turtle shell.
Yeah.
And that's got to be peculiar because someone's going to see it.
It's SPF.
Right.
It's
like,
rat SPF.
You know, he's got a shield now. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, how's this work?
I got a built-in umbrella, guys.
Or someone made off with it a distance that I haven't found where, and then they died there with a glue trap. Like, they made it over the fence, maybe. But like
maybe
it's like questions that I don't have an answer to. Like,
it's like you just have to sniff around and see if you smell the death.
Right.
You know?
And then it's going to be maggots, and then the flies will pick up, and I'll be like, well, it's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. We did have fly pickup too, by the way.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, yeah.
Some of the big giant ones.
The flies will attract to the death and then make the seedings.
Yeah.
And then the progeny.
It's so gross, dude. Think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's so gross. Anyway, I mean, next time, surely, I thought about it afterwards, like, fuck, I should have put them in a bag.
Yeah.
Just get the gallon Ziploc and drop them in there and then zip it closed. That would have been way better.
Yeah.
Push out as much air.
You're still going to smell it because I have.
Yeah.
Like once you bag it once, you probably best to just double bag it, and that'll at least stop most of the smell. It'll certainly stop the flies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that requires.
Or I guess you could put them in the Ziploc and then drop them in the freezer.
I am not putting a...
Then, no, hold on. Hear me out. Then, when it's a garbage day, out of the freezer into the can, and then they're only in there long enough to thaw out slightly, and then the can gets picked up, and then they go to the trash.
I can,
dump.
Just put them right in the front of the freezer, so that way when someone goes to get ice cream, they're like, oh, this isn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
They put them right next to the fucking chicken nuggets and, the dinos.
Did you see the, God, I can't.
Is this a corn dog? Man.
Yeah, don't give it to my boy. It was like, I can't remember if it was a TikTok or a tweet. It was someone like making a scary thing. It was take a close-up selfie of your face, and then print it out, and then you laminate it.
Oh yes,
laminate it.
I saw it.
And then put it in like a mason jar filled with tea or something, and bend it like a card so that the face is up against the glass of the mason jar, and it looks like a head.
That's
inside
awesome.
the.
But where are you gonna get a laminator? You have one?
I think Venus's dad has one. Certainly a business card. I don't know about 5x7, 8.5 by 11.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
It would be. I mean, it looked scary as fuck. And Venus was like, I want no part of that. I'm like,
really?
That's scary. That looks nasty. I mean, it looks like a formaldehyde.
Yeah, actually,
taxidermy.
Now that we're talking about it, Shanna has access to a.
You'd need a big one.
Well, she has. I mean,
a
they
laminator?
they do it at school. They laminate tons of shit.
Oh yeah,
at
like
school.
a workbook sheet.
She brings home rolls of shit that she just has to cut out of the lamination stuff.
There you go.
Rolls of stuff that's been laminated, and then she has to sit there and cut it all out and organize it. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, that can
You and
happen.
Shane should make one of those and then put it in the refrigerator for Datas to see.
One for each of us.
Yeah.
The whole family.
Yeah. Pickles on me.
Or even better, in the pickle jar.
Yeah. I feel like, well, yeah. And it's not like they'd pick it up, so they would just see it.
Mm-hmm. What the fuck?
What the fuck is this? It's a dead rat. Or a picture. Oh, a rat.
Oh, God.
In a pickle jar.
Oh, that would be good.
Be so terrible.
Oh, God. That's awful. That's awful good. But see, the thing is like the person that I would want to get would be Shanna, and I wouldn't be able to do that because she's the one who would have to do the laminating.
Yeah.
Like, hey, will you laminate this picture of a rat for me?
But don't look at it.
Yeah. What? No, just don't. Yeah. That wouldn't work.
Erase that from your mind.
Yeah. You just do.
Just snap it.
Yeah. And she's gone.
You're gonna wake up and you will no longer be a chicken.
Yeah, Independence Day. Right?
What?
Independence Day? Isn't that what it was? Independence Day, where they erase the memory?
That's Men in Black.
No, that's what I said. Men in Black. That's what I meant.
You got the black guy, right?
This right guy, right actor, wrong movie. Yeah. It's fine, okay? Yeah. I'm like,
hey.
I'm getting up there in age, bro.
Hey.
Yeah. See, I mean, how many episodes? I don't even remember again.
109.
Yeah, that. See what I'm saying?
Speaking of age,
yeah,
not of us. I was in a work-related well, I wasn't related because I was just watching it because it was a train wreck to me. But it was...
It was like, get the popcorn.
Oh, yeah. It was a conversation with my superior and someone of his near age bracket. So we're talking pressing 60 plus. And like out of touch. So they were talking about YouTube, watching YouTube stuff versus just doing things. And that's where it started. It was someone was talking about like what people do to kill their time, and these two guys were talking about how their grandkids just sit and watch YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah.
And the one other old guy goes off and says, he essentially like puts down the whole concept as, I'm a doer, not a watcher. And then my superior kind of smooths it by basically saying, well, I like to watch like fly fishing things to like make new flies or to learn new like techniques or new products. But then it didn't matter because the other guy was just like,
nope.
This next upcoming generation, they don't do anything. They all just, I don't understand what they get out of it. Like they don't experience anything anymore.
Does he not understand there are thousands of people that are making this content on YouTube that are doing this shit?
Apparently not. And so I had worked up in like typical me fashion. Oh. I had a number of like responses like, there is a myriad of genres and sources on YouTube that you can do it's entertainment, educational, instructional, talk show stuff. There is tons of, it's not all vacuous bullshit. The amount of stuff that I've learned about how to haircuts, engine repair, engine troubleshooting. For I'm not an ASE certified mechanic. I don't have an electrician's certification.
Well, I was like, I did a search the other day for how do I change. I mean, I'm not a fucking idiot. I know how to change a battery. But in my car, the battery's in the trunk. And the hole that accesses the battery, it's like, you're not getting that fucking battery out of that access hole. Why is this hole so small? How do I change the battery in my Cadillac?
Right.
You got to take all the trim and shit out.
Right.
In order to get to the goddamn battery. I didn't know that.
Any of like the home audio, car audio stuff and things like that. It's like, most cars have like an instruction manual, like a driver's manual, but there's no,
in-depth
disassembly
maintenance.
manual. You've got to either go by like I'm going to date
Hayes
myself
manual
here,
or
a
something.
Chilton's or a Haynes.
Yeah.
But even then, most people under our age bracket probably have no idea what a Haynes or a Chilton's is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably like they don't have an idea what like a Thomas Brothers map is either.
Yeah.
Everything is. So, to see these two old guys like poo-pooing the entire, and then they went off and they started talking about Xboxes. They're like, I pride myself on not having an Xbox in my house, and then the other guy said, I don't have one here either, and that's the best thing I ever did for my grandkids. And I'm like working up another thing, like, bitch, I got 4.
Yeah.
Like,
we do it as a family.
It's not. It's It's what you could tell that there were these people.
Well, they're
so out of touch.
Let's look at it this way. Probably from the generation that watches a ton of TV, I would assume.
Yeah.
And the TV that you're watching typically is not educational, does not pertain anything specific to what your likenesses are, other than it's like gibberish scripted things that are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That are just,
these guys probably all enjoyed, fucking Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
And Matlock. And,
that's what I'm saying.
Dallas.
You weren't learning anything from any of those things. There's no,
Yeah. Well, all of a sudden you watched PBS as you were growing up.
Yeah.
No, I fucking didn't. I guarantee you didn't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good show.
Right.
Because it's entertaining.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, YouTube is like, I was not a much of a YouTube watcher.
Right.
I become more and more involved in watching stuff on YouTube than ever, because you can.
Yeah, I would be the same.
Like I think about, like, I don't know how to do this X or Y. Well, somebody somewhere has had the same thing and made a YouTube video on how to do that thing that you're looking to do.
Right.
All you got to do is search for it.
I look at where I am with how I consume YouTube in all of its forms, entertainment, killing time, and instructional, as a not far leap from how I looked at running Encyclopedia or Encarta on a disc in a CD-ROM in the 90s. It was like, I can go here for this breadth of information that doesn't require me to go and flip through a book that I don't know. I can use a search term, and I know it's going to be there, or I know it's not. But I have a net new, huge repository to find a pastime or an instruction.
Yeah.
Or a new hobby, whatever.
Yeah.
This is just an evolution of that, and to be like ignorant. It absolutely, and these two guys were just railing on it, and I'm just like, I'm letting them run out the chain and hang themselves with it, because we had just watched. This ties into like the other thing. Last night, female congresswoman, in an effort to get out the vote, held a streaming thing playing video games, Among Us, on Twitch, and this other part of the conversation at work was also like, I don't understand how people can watch other people play video games.
Yeah.
The Washington Post.
I mean, honestly, that's where I'm at with Twitch as a tip. I mean, that's the typical use of Twitch.
Yes.
Is a medium for streaming your gaming content.
Right.
Which I have no interest in that.
And these guys didn't get it either.
Yeah.
But so the Washington Post did this article based off of her streaming it.
Yeah.
And so here was the...
What was her stream content? I didn't watch any of it.
She was just playing Among Us with another...
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
that's like the one that you showed me on your... You play it or
I haven't
dabbled with mobile.
Yeah.
So it's like a Clue, a socialized version of Clue, sort of.
Yeah.
So the article starts out, if anyone is confused why more than 500,000 people...
That's a lot.
Would watch a congresswoman play a video game for 3 hours. Here's the core reason. Almost 3 billion humans play video games. So the generation that we're in that grew up on like the Nintendo, the Sega, the early consoles are now at a point to where that's part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know who Mega Man is, Metroid, Asteroid, those are the early Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, all of those things almost shape our culture. Like we understand that.
Yeah.
The generation just under us, and then my sons in particular and Piper, video game and streaming video games and watching people play, that's their Tom Brady's.
Yeah.
That's their, Joe Montana's, Steve Young's.
It's their Brady Bunch. It's
right.
It's their Cheers.
That's their TV shows.
Yeah.
And to see the amount of audience that this woman reached in an effort to get out the vote, to get voter participation, participate in civics, your civic duties, your citizen, right? And to then juxtapose that with this conversation of boomers above me that think it's asinine.
Yeah.
Like this lady, in an effort to engage citizens to participate in the election, reached 500,000 people.
And typically you're probably talking about younger voters. Or
right.
Younger crowd of generational folks.
Right.
So I mean that is a pretty brilliant way.
It is.
They're
like
not
anything
typically...
else, if you think it didn't cost her ad money, she didn't have to run a commercial on an ABC. It cost her nothing but probably whatever computer hardware to stream it. You can stream on Twitch for free. It costs you nothing.
Yeah.
So a good spokesperson. She engaged with the top content creators pretty much on the platform, and they brought in their hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people to watch them.
Yeah.
And the message was participate.
Yeah. 500
million people, right? So it's a hard concept, but when I see, I don't understand how people could watch people play video games. Like these people that are watching people play Twitch, that's their Joe Montanas. Like I've watched my share of football. I've watched, LeBron James play basketball. Like, how is this any different?
What I liken it to is back in when my late teens, early 20s, the big thing for us was MTV.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And MTV, I remember they had a huge push about rock the vote.
Yes.
Vote.
Yeah.
I mean, they were talking about voting all the time.
Kurt Loder.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a big deal, and that was one of the things that inspired me to vote. I knew I was going to be voting. It was important to me to vote.
Daisy Fuentes.
But one of the things that instilled the importance was part of it was the campaign that MTV embroiled themselves in, which was rock the vote, and you know what I mean.
They attached it to music. The current importance of then that was the culture that I was most tied to.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, these are musicians that I follow.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a channel that I'm watching. It's part of my main.
Yeah, you go to
input.
Lollapalooza and there's rock the vote there, and it was ingrained into that culture. It's a similar thing.
Right.
It's just this is the new thing.
Right.
Yeah, this is just the newer cultural part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
it's interesting.
So it's encouraging to see newer politicians
that understand these,
realize that politicians are going to politic, right? And they're going to right? It's all politics. But I think it's important as we look at some of the statistics going into the last few elections where voter participation is down. I think this is a step forward into getting into a catalyst like Rock the Vote was for our age bracket.
Yeah.
Like it felt like when I was younger, consuming stuff that was relative to Rock the Vote, it was like I felt like there was more participation from my peers.
Yeah, it was.
Like
you felt like you were more part of.
Right.
You were more part of a bigger group that was going to be participating.
And their message was agnostic of party.
Yeah.
I think it was probably, if I'm being honest, I think it was probably a little bit more liberal based.
Yeah.
But they didn't push candidates per se. It was, you have this right, use it and make your voice heard.
Yeah.
I feel like somewhere between that era and now, we've lost like the get out and vote, do the thing, the excitement and the need to participate in civics. I think as we still see like the old gray hair white guys that are in Congress legislating based off of these Leave It to Beaver era engagement things, they're out of touch. This is the start, I think, of how you get the next generation engaged.
Well, think about it. Like way back in the day, it was like, get on a train and ride the train around the country and promote yourself on the back of a train. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't happen. I mean, things evolve, right?
Right.
It's like you couldn't do that now. That wouldn't work.
Right.
Just no one.
And too, I think the drawback that I also see and I complain about at length with my dad is that the overaged politicians and legislators seem to be working off a playbook where I can go to a town hall or I can engage a group of people and say something that they may want to hear or that works for them, and then I can go 2 towns over and say something different to, encourage their vote for me, but it's at odds with whatever I said a day ago, 2 days ago, 2 cities over, and not be called on the carpet for it.
Yeah.
Like those days are over, but yet I think we still see a significant portion of the Politico thinking they can get away with it.
The old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, the cameras are out, people are recording, social media is here. If you say something over here, it's going to they're going to know about it over there almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
So people who have a genuine message, people that convey a genuine message, I think are going to outpace and out-engage people that continue to speak out both sides of the mouth and get called on it.
Yeah. I mean, as a family, we kind of all voted and finished up yesterday. And I think I posted on Twitter a couple tweets about with an actual picture of the top of the table with all the shit that was sent.
Yeah.
And so that was like what was left from everybody voting.
Yeah.
And then we took our ballots. So my daughter is registered to vote, but she's registered to vote in Orange County.
Okay.
So she had to put hers in the mail. But we took our 3 to the Placer County warehouse in Rockland, and they have a drop-off box. Surprised me to find out that there's a polling place there. You could actually go in and vote there.
Oh.
I was very surprised to see that. But we all dropped our ballots in the actual Placer County official box that's on the Placer County property there. And then took Melanie to the post office where she could drop hers off in the mail. And but there I was really excited to see Melanie, my daughter, be excited about being able to vote. I mean, it's her first presidential election. She was super excited about being able to vote.
Good.
Yeah, and
I
super
pulled
involved.
The ballot pamphlet out, and we talked through the bulk of the propositions at dinner.
Yeah.
With both kids. Obviously, Piper's not and Zander aren't eligible to vote, but we we read it and we discussed it. I think we got through half of them before dinner was over and people had to finish homework and whatnot. But it's a very open conversation at the house, and we, like I said, we did it at the dinner table. Like everyone needs to know, because everyone's voice when you get there needs to be heard. You need to participate.
Well, it was kind of, we were all sitting around the table. I had basically voted already because I didn't realize they were going to want to vote together. But I sat at the table with them. I had my ballot there. They had all the paperwork that's got sent to the house. And so it was like, okay, here's this proposition and this is what it's saying. And it's like, well, what are the pros and cons? If you look at the booklet, there's a thing where they say this is for, and this is the things that people that have submitted against. And like, what's important to you? Do you want this or that? And I'm not telling them how to vote. I mean, I would love to do that, but this is their decision.
Yeah, when I read it, I did the same way. I was very kind of like, I read pros, I read cons, and then we kind of, to some degree, we had an open discussion about it. Yeah. And then there were a number of them where I just kind of circled it, and I'm gonna have to flip to the deep dive one. Yeah.
I mean, I did get my Antifa semi-automatic and stand there and be like, you're voting, you better mark the right shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with my chew.
Were you adjusting your mic?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it was fun. It was actually fun, and it was different because normally I'm one of those people, I like to go to the poll. It's exciting. I like to go to the poll and fill out my shit and like drop it in the computer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that this year because you can't, or you can, but we didn't know. And that was kind of fun to sit around the table and figure it out and like see what we wanted to do. So it was different. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. Yeah. And then we voted. And then it'll be like 2 weeks before we find out what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then there was no way in hell for me personally either that I was going to be putting my ballot in the mail. It wasn't going to happen.
Oh, to the official box. And,
yeah. I'm like, I will either drive to Rockland, which is closer, go to the warehouse one and drop it off there, or I'm going to drive to the voter office in Auburn and actually drop it off there. I will do that if I have to.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, I'm good at the Placer County place in Rockland.
That's a solid one.
Yeah.
We're at time.
That's just like that.
Just like that.
Shut up, Jim.
Well, I mean,
No, it's okay.
I'm excited about it too. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fun when your kids are old enough and, it's like, well, let's talk about this stuff. It's kind of cool,
Yeah.
So.
So I have, to wrap it up.
Okay.
I saw an interesting episode from Adam Savage's Tested this morning. He's making you ever watch Hellboy?
I know
it's kind of an acquired taste.
Yeah, I haven't
so he has a prop handgun called the Samaritan.
Okay.
And it's a huge hand cannon. It's just a beast of a thing.
Okay.
Adam Savage is making this prop. And he is if you've ever watched any of the other Tested stuff or Mythbusters or whatnot, he's a meticulous cosplayer, model maker, prop maker. He's more of like a measure it and like build things off of measurements. He'll fully admit that he's not like a sculptor by trade, so he doesn't have he doesn't know how to get to the end. He doesn't have that kind of vision. He just gets to a place and then works from there and then works. So his quote was, because he was talking about how he approached problems that he didn't know how to solve because he couldn't see what was at the end. Mm-hmm. And the quote was, you don't have to know how to finish the project. You just have to know what the next step is. So when I was thinking about like the tools that I had fixed and Tony's approach to like, well, I'm not really in his thing. He's like, I don't think he was embarrassed by it. He was like, I live vicariously through you.
Yeah.
It just kind of like hit like thing. I don't think we have to be. Just try it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay
like,
to fail.
Yeah. I get into a number of projects myself where I'm like, I don't know how this thing's going to come together in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that's where I stop, because if I think that I can't see the end goal, then it's like, well, that's too much and I don't know how to do that, so I'll stop. I think in some cases, when you have an open mind, it's like, don't worry about the end. Get to the next step. Well, I know the rake is busted, and I'm not, I don't know how it was made, but I know this goes into here. So how do I keep this in there?
Well, I think I suffer from the opposite of that, where
really?
I can see what I want it to look like, but how do I get there from here? That's where I struggle. I have the exact opposite.
You know the end, but you don't know.
I vision what I want it to look like. It's like, oh, I have this project in mind, and it should look like this when I'm all done.
Right.
But I don't know how to get there from here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I have to like take those little steps. Like, yeah. It was like when we did the fire pit out back. It was like, I want to do a fire pit, and I know what needs to happen, but I don't know how to get there.
And so that was like the approach, like in the quote. It's like you knew you needed a gas line.
Yeah.
You knew you had to dig a trench.
Yeah.
You knew you were probably going to need blocks, but you took each of those things in steps. Was it the exact image of the fire pit? Maybe not. Maybe a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But taking the steps
is
the approach that got you to do something and a product that you had never done before.
Yeah, I'd never done that shit.
It was like, that's amazing. Like that's I think that's the right approach to things that seems to be a stumbling block. It's like, well, I don't know how politics works, so I'm not going to take part because elections are confusing to me.
Well,
or I don't know enough about blah, so I'm just not going to get involved because I can't.
I think what happens in politics is like you get so bogged down in some mundane.
Right, but if you were to pull back and like that's not too far off from a vision. It's like that's not.
Have you ever gone or watched one of the city council meetings? It's hard.
Yeah.
To just watch it, let alone be a participant.
Yeah.
It's hard because I feel like I'm like OCD to a certain extent, right? Like my mind's like going a million miles an hour, but this meeting is going 1 mile an hour. You know what I mean? And how are we going to get there from here? I'm interested in that bit. We might not even get there this week,
right,
or month, or whatever it is. That's where from a politics standpoint, that's why it would be difficult. And some of the language that's used. Mm-hmm. If you're going over your ballot, let's just hit this for a second. You're looking at all the stuff that is being voted on for the city of Roseville about the city charter and bringing it up to the state law.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we even voting on the fact that we have to bring our city charter up to state law? If it's not in accordance with state law, it should just be changed. I don't understand how we have to vote on that. See what I mean?
Yeah. And
some of the language that's used, it's like, this apparently is all necessary somehow, and I don't understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a long way to get to the end goal, which I get why we need to get there.
Yeah.
But why? What are these mysterious steps in between to get there?
That's civics, though. If you could just change it, then we'd have kings and queens.
I know, but I don't understand what the thing that I was telling my wife is. Why are we voting to be like, yeah, let's be in compliance with the state law?
Oh,
why are we voting to say, yeah, city, change it so you're in a? If it's not within state law, why are we voting on it? It should just be changed to be within state law. I guess I assume it's because it's a city charter and any changes have to be ratified by a vote.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess. But it just seems
maybe we're one off and like rough and ready, and so they don't have to be.
It's
like so.
I totally get what you're saying. Like everything's like, okay, I need to do this to get there. It's like if you work on a car And you have to get to the alternator buried underneath something. You got to take this thing off, and you have to unbolt this and move it out of the way. And then finally, okay, now I can get to the alternator. It's all steps.
Yeah.
Right?
Just steps.
Sometimes you don't know what those steps are, and you just have to figure it out.
Right.
It's a challenge. I get it. Yeah.
It is.
I totally get it. I mean, yeah. Anyway. I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
right.
we could go.
Okay.
Another 2 hours.
We could, actually. That's part of the problem with hanging out here on a Wednesday night doing the show.
Yeah.
Is we could go on for a long time, and then next week we may not have as much to talk about.
I got more stories, but we'd have to. I mean, then I had like a fake sponsor, and
yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, all I have to say is vote.
Wash your hands.
Wash your ass.
Wear the mask.
And return the cart. We got them.
We got them.
Just like that.
We'll catch you next week.
Have a good week, everybody. Thanks for
listening.